Yo, once again, it's on. Back at you one more again, Real Kens TV and the House Like Kitchen Sinks. Hopefully you like the video. Feel free to comment. Definitely share. Subscribe to the channel if you're not already subscribed. And be sure to hit that post notification. So anytime I bring you this action and this heat, guess what? You're amongst the first to receive. Now, with no further ado, let's get into this afternoon's video, if you will. It's about 4:18 p.m. Thursday afternoon. Just now getting off work. I work the morning shift. Y'all have to excuse the glare, like the sun is really, really beaming. So, you know, I'm trying to hold the camera appropriately, if you will, so that the sun won't ruin the image. But there is a message today. I want to talk about this T.I. situation. T.I. and his son. If you're not familiar, T.I., the rapper, a very famous rapper, you know, his son disrespected him tremendously, to say the least. And like everything else, it was being recorded. And a lot of people are going in on this kid. He's a kid. He's actually an adult, technically, but he's still a kid. You know, like you can be 20 years old and, you know, in the eyes of society, you're a grown man. But technically, you're still a kid, if that makes any sense. A lot of people, they're going in on this guy and, you know, saying that he should be lucky and feel privileged and you know, the fact that he has a silver spoon, he was born with a silver spoon, that he should have nothing to complain about. My take on it, while I agree with that, I tend to look at things from a different perspective. Sometimes, you know, I try to look, you know, from both point of views, if you will. I definitely don't condone him disrespecting his mother or his father. You know, T.I. has worked very, very diligent, very, very hard over the years to make sure that his kids are in the position that they're in and that they don't have to go out there and do the things that he did in those streets. The problem with, I guess, celebrity kids or kids that come from money, most kids that come from money, in my opinion, are very, very entitled. You know, they feel as though, well, my parents are rich, so I'm rich. You know, and my parents should just give me anything that I ask for because we live in this big house. We drive, you know, nice cars, Range Rovers and Escalades. And, you know, so a kid feels as though, well, you got it, so I got it. Now, it's not every kid, obviously. But a lot of kids that were born with silver spoons in their mouth, so to speak, they feel that way. You know, I referenced Master P and his kids. He has a bunch of kids, like 9 kids, 8, 9 kids. And I was watching an interview that he did. I don't remember which platform it was on, but basically he was talking about when his kids turned 16, he didn't buy them cars. He didn't, you know, he didn't spoil them with everything. They had to ride their bikes to school, sometimes walk in the snow. And people were looking at him like, you know, damn, P, you gonna make your kids walk in the snow? You gonna make them, you know, jog? You gonna make them ride their bikes? And I was one of those guys at that particular time. But now I realize that he was only trying to toughen them up. He was only trying to get them ready for this thing called life, the real world. Yeah, you're Master P's sons, but nobody's going to give you anything in life simply because you're Master P's sons. You know, they both play basketball. Two of the ones that he was speaking of, they both, you know, I think one plays at the University of Louisville. The other one's still in high school, and he's going to be going to the University of Houston next year. Full scholarship. He's real good. His name's Mercy Miller. He's real good. Look for him to be in the NBA probably within the next year or two. But nevertheless, you know, he was just trying to toughen them up. You know, show them a work habit. You know, show them, you know, if you want it, you got to work for it. I'm not going to just give you anything. I'm going to help you. I'm definitely going to help you. But you got to want it. I'm not going to give you anything. Now, when I brought that up on one of my shorts that I did, someone referenced his son, Lil Romeo. And they said, well, Real Kims, you wrong, because Lil Romeo, before he was even old enough to drive, had his own house and he had plenty of vehicles. Yes, he did. But the thing about it, Lil Romeo was a platinum selling artist. So I would say that money came out of, you know, his own money. You see what I'm saying? And I believe that Master P learned something from that. And he's seen how that situation turned out. So he said, you know what? I'm not going to coddle my kids anymore. I'm not going to spoil my kids anymore. I'm always be here for them, as I mentioned, but they got to work for it. And I like the way that he actually, he did that. Now, in King's situation, King is the son of T.I. And like I said, this is for the individuals that are not familiar with the situation. In King's situation, I must admit, he does act like a spoiled kid. You know, I've seen several different situations, several different interviews, you know, him being on Instagram. I don't follow him, but I've seen it. And it appears as though he wants to be something that he's not. And that's not knocking him, because it's like this. T.I. came up in the hood. T.I.'s family came up in the hood. You know, family members were in the hood. T.I., you know, he started to, his music blew up. He became very, very successful in music. He became very successful in acting, doing movies. And his business, very, very business savvy type of individual. So, obviously, once you achieve that level of success, if you will, guess where you're not living at? You're not living in the hood anymore. And as an outsider looking in, we all feel like, hey, you made it out of the hood. That's great. And it is great. It is great to make it out of the hood. Because when you're in the hood and when you're poor, every day, guess what you're thinking? I can't wait to get out of here. I can't wait till my mama buy you a house. You're never going to have to work as hard ever again. You watching your mom struggle, work 3 and 4 jobs. You having to stay home with your younger siblings because there's no babysitter. No one can afford, your mother can't afford to buy you, to hire, rather, you a babysitter. Typically, the father's not in the home. You know, some nights it's food is very, very scarce. Some nights you might not have electric. You might not have heat. Some nights you may have to use the stove. I know it's dangerous, but we've all done it. You might have to use the stove to heat up the house, you know, for a little bit, for a little while. You know, these are the things that go on. The violence, the killings, the fights, whatever you can possibly imagine, these things occur in the hood. So when you're there, you can't wait to get out. But what tends to happen is, and I haven't achieved a level of success, so I'm just imagining how it possibly could be. So you're finally blessed to get out of that environment. You move to the hills, or you move to the suburbs. You all got this big mansion, you know, 7-8 room mansion. You got swimming pools, you got, you know, basketball courts, you got everything that you could possibly imagine. But guess what? That wears off. You're not happy. You miss your family. You miss your friends. Yeah, you may be able to bring a family member or two with you, you know, depending on the situation and the scenario. But you get to reflecting back and thinking back to that very same place that you were so determined and anxious to make it out of. You missed that place because that place was home to you. You know everybody, everybody in the neighborhood. Everybody knows you. It's kind of like a village. Everybody, if someone else, grandmother, catches you doing something wrong, you're going to be corrected. You're going to be chastised. Everything's kind of like a family environment. So yes, it is the hood. It is I don't necessarily want to say a bad neighborhood, because a lot of great things happen in the hood. Now, it's not the most ideal place. I don't think anybody chooses to live in the hood. But you make the best of it. You make the best of your situation. And when you're up in these big mansions and things of that nature, you miss your cousins. You miss your uncles. You miss your, the people that are still there. So guess what? You want to go back and see your family. You want to go back and hang out and kick it like you used to. Well, obviously your family is kind of, when I say your family, meaning your mother and father, they may be a little apprehensive about you going back, because they understand the dynamics of the situation as far as what could possibly happen. The jealousy, the envy. Oh, what's he doing back here? They rich. They live in a mansion. Why you back in the hood? Here it is. You just trying to, go back to where you're familiar at. The places you're familiar with. The people, the familiar faces. You miss this. But you're not quite understanding what your parents are trying to tell you. So you become rebellious in a sense. Oh, my parents, man, they think, they came from here. They came from the hood. Now they act like they too good. No, it's not that they don't want you to go back. It's not that they don't want you to visit your family. But you definitely have to be aware of your surroundings. You have to be a mindset and understanding that everybody is not happy with your success. Everybody don't want to see you win. Yeah, you got a lot of people back there, and they're gonna protect you, and they're gonna. But then you have. It's always gonna be haters. There will always be haters. So you get around a group of your friends and cousins, and you see them doing certain things, certain street things. Well, you trying to hang and kick it too, because guess what? They're looking at you like, man, you a rich kid. You ain't about this life. You not about these streets. Your daddy was. But you ain't about this life. All you're trying to do is fit in. You're trying to fit in, but you hear this so much. Guess what happens? You begin to rebel. You begin to, in a sense, despise the foundation and the success that your father put in work for, to make sure that you didn't have to put in work. The very same thing that most people dream of in life and want, you start to despise. For the simple fact that your cousins and your peers, they're living this certain type of lifestyle. They don't live in a mansion. But they're looking at you. Why you always back in the hood? You mentioned that T.I. didn't raise you. Your grandmother raised you. And T.I. said that's where you wanted to be. You always wanted to go over there. That's understandable. You wanted to be around the people that you were familiar with. So when you're around these people, and again, I'm going to mention, don't want to sound redundant, but when you're around these individuals that are doing these things that you don't have to do, you want to fit in. You want to prove to everybody, man, I can get down too. I'm about that life. But everyone knows that you're not about that life. You grew up in a mansion, dude. That doesn't make you any less of a person. But we live in a society now to where it's crazy. Because really, I think it's right ignorant. The street guys, the so-called street guys, which most of them are not real street guys. You know, a lot of dudes think because they tote the pistols, they sell a little drugs here and there. Might have slapped somebody with a pistol, shot at somebody. That don't make you street. You know what I mean? Stupid is as stupid does. That does not make you street. Now, don't get me wrong. There are street dudes that do those activities. You know, let's not get it, misconstrued. But I'm saying the average person just calls themselves a street dude just because they partake in certain situations. And that don't necessarily make you a street dude. So you're wanting to prove to everybody. So now, you hanging out with rappers. Nothing wrong with that. You want to be a rapper or whatever. But you can't rap about what they rap about. Because you haven't seen that lifestyle. T.I.'s been rich for a long time. So you never lived the struggle. You may have seen the struggle when you go back. As I previously mentioned, when you go back and stay with your grandmother and you're around, everybody. Now, some of you may say, well, what's the grandmother doing still in the hood? Older folks, no disrespect whatsoever. And no one should even take it as disrespect. But a lot of times when you're older, you're kind of set in your ways as far as you're good. This is the place I was born and raised. This is where I've been at. I don't want to move out. You might have a couple $1 million in your bank account. That your kids or, have provided for you. And that's cool, but this is home. I don't want to live out in the mansion, in the hills. I don't want to move in the suburbs. This is my home right here. And I'd imagine this would be the situation at hand. And so, as I mentioned, when King is going back, it's just home to him. But he's constantly feeling as though he has to prove himself to fit in. So when he's jumping on the rap songs and he can't talk about hanging on the block all day. He can't talk about all the people he shot. He can't talk about being shot. He can't talk about, the times people were shooting at him. He can't talk about the time he did in prison or juvenile, the juvenile homes. Or jail, however you want to put it. He can't talk about, being in the trap house all day, running from the police. These things he can't speak of. But he likes it. He's fascinated by it. So again, he begins to resent his parents for being successful. Not only is his father, T.I., that's worth a lot of money, $60-70 million, whatever it is. His mother, her name is Tiny. She was once in a very successful R&B group. I believe Escape. I believe it was Escape. And she's successful. She has her own money. So now you have two rich, famous parents. You all on reality shows. You're on television often. But you begin to resent your parents' success. And the way that I understand that point of view, his point of view when it comes to that, as far as, I want to be like my friends. But on the flip side, you don't resent your parents' success, man. They worked very, very hard to keep you out of them streets, to keep you out of them prisons, to keep you out of that morgue. And if this young fella doesn't get it together, he's going to be in one of those two places, because those are the things that seems like floats his boat, the streets. The streets is where his mind and mentality is at, but he's never been in the streets. So when you talk crazy and disrespectful to your dad, and you tell him that he's capping, I know you capping. Urban Dictionary just exaggerating, in a sense, lying, telling people, one thing, but really it's this. That's what capping is, in a nutshell. He's saying these things to his father. And his father is got to the point to where he grabbed him up, put him in a little headlock or whatever. He didn't assault him. I don't call it an assault, because he pushed his mother away. His mother was trying to step in. He pushed his mother away. And T.I. was like, hold on, man. Put your hands on, first of all, that's my wife. That's your mother. That's my wife. You don't put your hands on no woman, period. No woman, period. You don't put your hands on, but especially your mother. But any woman, I'm going to reiterate that. You don't put your hands on any woman. I don't believe in it. Never have done it. I don't condone it. So T.I., to me, did the right thing. A lot of people feel like, T.I. should have did more to him. But you got to understand, this guy is a public figure. It's being recorded. They're at a professional, a pro game. So everybody's, kind of seeing it. So T.I. probably couldn't do what he really wanted to do. He held his composure right there. Put him in a little headlock, just got him under control. Now, what happened after that, behind closed doors, I guess only they can tell that. So, like I said, I understand this young man's, I guess his pain. I don't agree with it, but I understand it. See, we live in a different world, so I have to understand that kids are not necessarily built the way we were when we were kids. When I was a kid, man, I talked to my mama and my daddy like that, man, my block would have been knocked all the way off. It didn't matter where we were at. I don't care if it was 100,000 people watching. You, what? You gonna do? Are you think you tough? Okay. Okay. I'm gonna show you how tough you really are. That's the era I came up in. I came up in the era, we didn't have, we have video games, don't get me wrong, but we didn't have social media and all of these gadgets and different things that they have now. So I understand that these kids deal with a whole lot of pressure. They deal with a whole lot of, peer pressure. They look social media, they look on Facebook, they look on Instagram, Snapchat, whatever, and they see people living a certain type of life, a certain type of lifestyle, but a lot of that is just stunning for the gram. Stunting for the gram is what they call it. Putting on for the gram. Acting as though you're really living this way, but you're really not. But on camera, it looks good. But really, these cars and these clothes and this jewelry, a lot of that stuff is not even yours, or it's fake. Now, it's not everybody. But a lot of people are just stunting for the gram. You got these rappers that's, they're acting as though they have all of this money. Their money just falls out of the sky. They're going to the strip club, throwing $30,000 and $40,000 to the strippers. They're getting out of $200,000 and $300,000 cars, big houses, big jewelry, big ice. If you ain't got no money, ain't nobody, the ladies is not fooling with you. If you don't have no followers, if you don't have no subscribers, if you don't have a whole lot of people, following you on Instagram, you ain't nothing. He ain't nobody. He ain't got nothing but 2,000 followers. He ain't nobody. That's the image that's being, put out there. So a lot of these kids, they're seeing that, and they feel as though, man, I ain't nobody. They are somebody, but they feel as though, man, I ain't nobody, man. I don't have no followers. Ain't nobody, really checking for me like that. But these guys over here, man, they got the ladies. They got, they got this, they got that. It's not even really like that. It just appears to be like that. So these are the things that I keep in mind that these young kids are dealing with these days. You know, it's really, really sad, and it's alarming. So you'll take an individual such as King, and the reason I said jail or the morgue is because he's an individual that's really, really dangerous. You know why? Because he feels as though he has something to prove. He has nothing to prove whatsoever. But he feels as though these guys keep playing me soft. They really think, because my daddy's T.I. and we live in a mansion, they really think I'm soft. Forget that mansion. I'm in the hood every day. I'm on the block with my partners every day. It's whatever. So you're more anxious and apt to do something than the next man. So y'all getting ready to go ride on somebody. I won't go. Nah, man, you don't need to go. Come on, man, I want to go. Here, let me do it. I do it. Y'all seen that movie Get Hard? Pause. Matter of fact, double pause. Actually, T.I. was in the movie Get Hard. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. About a guy, man, I forgot his name too. He's a hell of an actor. I just don't remember his name. He gets framed and he's going to prison. So he has to hire Kevin Hart's in the movie. Yeah, he hires Kevin Hart to show him, to prepare him in a sense for prison. So he shows him how to fight. He shows him how to, make shanks and things of that nature. But Kevin Hart had never really been to the pen. He was just acting as though he was telling T.I.'s story. T.I. was Kevin Hart's cousin in the movie. Y'all go check it out, man. It's called Get Hard. Again, double pause. Triple pause. But, in all seriousness, I'm praying for the young man. I'm praying for the family, because just because people are rich and famous and they still go through things that we go through in everyday life as well, and that young man needs to know that prison ain't no joke. That's why I started this channel. Prison is no joke. People think that you get stripes. Man, I've been to the pen. Man, I just did 5. I've done 10 calendars. 11, actually. And when you say calendars, full years in prison. No, not all at once. But it was 3 separate times that I've been. 11 years. 11 years away from my family. 11 years away from, kids. Loved ones, friends. Been out several years at this point. Don't do anything wrong. Nothing. You know why? Because I understand that these people out here, they're not playing. They're not playing with me. They're not playing with you. If you break the law, and especially when you're dealing with guns and violence and robberies and things like that, when you break the law, they got a place for you. They don't care about these prisons being overcrowded. Man, you got people sleeping in jails before you get to prison because there's a process to get to prison. The prisons are so overcrowded, you may sit in the county jails for, I've seen people wait up to 18 months. Waiting on a bed. Imagine that. Think of how crazy that sounds. I'm waiting on a bed to get to prison. When you're in the county jail, you can't wait to get to prison. You are in the county jail praying, God, please let me, because there are certain days that the bus comes. Lord, please let me be on this next bus ride. You can't wait to get to prison. Think about how crazy that sounds. But it's the reality of it. You're in that county jail, and you're in a cell that's meant for 12 people, and that's really too many. You got 22 people in there. 22 people in one cell. That's meant for 12 people. Got 2 phones, if you're lucky. Dudes get mad because they can't reach their girls, or their girls leave them, or they arguing on the phone. I mean, they're arguing on the phone, rather. So they get mad and smash the phone up against the wall, up against the receiver. So a lot of times, only one of the phones works. The other one, you can't. Hello? Can you hear? Hello? Can you hear me? You got one toilet. You got two toilets. You got two toilets. But I've seen one toilet. But typically, it's two toilets. You got one, you stand up, use the bathroom, and then you got one, you sit down. You got one shower. If you're lucky, you have a microwave, one microwave. If you're lucky, you have one 13-inch TV at the time where I was in, one 13-inch TV. Whole lot of arguments, whole lot of people getting their noodle pushed all the way backwards. This is my terminology for getting your wig split over the television. Because you got guys that, you know, they want to watch country music channel. And you got guys that want to watch BET. You got guys that want to watch wrestling on Monday nights, Monday Night Raw. But then you got guys that want to watch Monday Night Football. Dun, 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 dun. That's me. I'm a Monday Night Football type guy. And Sunday night. And Thursday night. And whatever night the NFL is on. You got guys that, you know, on Sundays, they want to watch football all day. Then you got guys that want to watch NASCAR. So that television is a very, very dangerous situation that it's best to just stay out of. As I mentioned, the phone, you got two phones, 22 guys arguing over the phone, who got next. They cut the phones off at 10, maybe 11 o'clock. So you're trying to get on the phone and call your people, but this guy's arguing with his girl, so he think that he's trucking the pod, which means he feels like he's the pod father. He runs the pod, so he think he can just keep calling back as many times he want, no matter who's waiting. Because he feels as though the people that's waiting, you know, he ain't doing that with no real gorillas in there. But I mean, the people that, you know, he's kind of surveyed the room, so he feels as though, man, I can do this here. Not even knowing. Nah, I done seen it. And we're going to talk about it in one of my next videos. I done seen a dude grab a mop wringer and split a dude wide open over that phone. Because he felt like he was going to truck the phone. My people love me too. They want to hear from me. I understand that you on the phone, but dude, 4 or 5 calls straight, that's disrespectful. So you really just think you, okay, don't worry about it. Enjoy your conversation. Enjoy your call. Next thing you know, that ain't good. Bloodbath. All these things happen, and this is in a county jail as you're waiting to go to prison. Dudes arguing over the poker game. Dudes cheating over the poker games. Man, it goes down. People trying to sleep, you being too loud. I'm next in the shower. There are 22 different personalities that don't know each other for the most part. You all in one cell together. Overcrowded cell. Now, I don't want to get too far away from the topic at hand, but it all goes together. These are the things that young King is going to experience if he don't turn his life around. Change his mentality. He doesn't have to be that way. Every day, man, when you in prison, that's why people, they keep their shoes on. They keep their boots on. A lot of people sleep in their boots because it's man, you got to be ready at all times because anything can jump off and you don't want to get caught in your shower shoes. So a lot of people, man, they wear their boots at all times. Think somebody cares anything about you in them county jails? They not separating you. You might be going to prison. Hell, I've seen people in the county jail just serving 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, and they'll mix you in with a person that just got 40 years. But you all in the cell together. But the person is, has 40 years, he's waiting to go upstate, up the river. Waiting to go up the river, but you just serving a 90-day for something, minor. They'll throw you all in there together. Yeah. Because these people don't care anything about you. You're a number, you're a bed, you're money to them. Cash cow. Locking people up, I've always said it and I'll continue to say it. It's about, it's a business. It's about making money. Now, don't get me wrong. You got some people that obviously need to be locked up. You out there killing people and robbing and raping and, molesting kids and, things of that nature. Yeah, you definitely need to be locked up. But you locking people up, man, hitting them with sentence enhancements over thefts. You went to Walmart and stole $200 or $300 worth of stuff. I don't condone stealing. But goodness gracious. You gonna give me 5 years and then enhance my sentence another 5 years because I have a prior? Over $200 or $300 worth of stuff, you mean to tell me that I can't go do 6 months in the county jail? Give me 10 years? It's a business. That's why they have private prisons. It's a business. So you have to be, if you've been to prison, which is great if you haven't. Because there's nothing good about going to prison. But if you've been to prison, then you know. If you know, you know. When I was in prison last, I made about $27 a month. It was like $1.25 a day, something like that I made. You don't work 30 days a month, so I would make about $26, $27 a month. Now, if you have one of the special jobs, then you might make $100 a month. You might make, and I had one of those special jobs, hated it every day. I don't know how I didn't get fired because I never went to work. And when I say never went to work, I manipulated the system, on Mondays I had class. Then I'd sign up for another class so that, I wanted to miss work as much as I could because it just wasn't my thing. And I ended up quitting. I don't do no tap dancing. I can't work for them people like that. Everybody has to have a job in prison. I want to do the least. Because you have to be of a certain, you have to act a certain type of way for those people to keep you and for you to be in their presence. And I'm not with it. But they say on life, I ain't no bootlicking trustee. So it just wasn't for me. But to each his own. You got guys that's in prison that won't work out here on the streets. They won't work for $13 an hour, $12, $13, $14 an hour. Man, I ain't flipping no burgers. Man, I ain't cleaning no toilets. Man, I ain't sweeping no floors, mopping no floors. I ain't doing this, I ain't doing that for $12, $13, $14 an hour. But then when they go to the pen, guess what? They all in Mr. Charlie's face. Double sweeping the floors, cleaning the windows, making sure that, they trying to tell the other inmates what to do, cleaning the showers. And all those things need to be done in prison. Don't get me wrong. Cleanliness, it's a beautiful thing. A whole lot of dudes be in prison tap dancing. But out here on the streets, they ain't working nothing. So I say all of that to say this. The young man, hopefully someone can get a hold of him. And when I say get a hold of him, meaning that hopefully someone, can reach him and garner his attention. And he'll listen and he'll understand that you're in a very, very blessed situation. Your parents love you dearly, son. Your parents love you. And understand the sacrifices that he made. I think T.I. got, 4 or 5 kids. He made a sacrifice, if not more. He made a sacrifice for all of you all. You all probably have nice trust funds, college funds, whatever. Don't take that for granted. Trying to go backwards. You're going backwards. Trying to be in the hood, you're going backwards. The hood is just a temporary place to get you to the next. It's a stepping stone. So that's my take on the T.I. Situation with his son. No disrespect, not bashing him in any manner. It's, you know, we don't do any talking bad and bashing people on my channel. I easily could talk about a lot of things, and I don't do no gossiping. I don't do, you know, I rarely even talk about other people's situations. But I do take heed, and I do listen. You know, people hit me up. People hit me up on my number. People text me. People email me. RealKensTV, you know, at yahoo.com. Like, and I listen. Sometimes people want me to talk about certain things, and I'll talk about it. I'll talk about certain things for you, because it's not all about me. It's about the people. So if you all want to hear certain things, I'll speak on it, but I'm not going to bash anybody. I'm going to talk crazy about anybody. But I will keep it real. Real Kens TV. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. Definitely feel free to comment, share, subscribe to the channel. And be sure to hit that post notification. So anytime I bring you this action and this heat, guess what? You're amongst the first to receive. Till next time, Real Kens TV, man.